The knockout stage of any FIFA World Cup always represents a dramatic shift in mentality. The margin for error disappears, every mistake becomes costly, and every moment can define a nation's journey. As Spain prepare to face Austria, expectations surrounding La Roja have continued to rise after a convincing group stage campaign that showcased both tactical maturity and the fearless energy of a new generation. Unlike previous Spanish teams that relied almost exclusively on patient possession, this version combines technical excellence with far greater verticality. Their attacks are faster, transitions are sharper, and their willingness to press aggressively immediately after losing possession has transformed them into one of the most balanced teams remaining in the tournament. At the center of this transformation stands Lamine Yamal. Despite his young age, he has already become one of Spain's most unpredictable attacking weapons. Rather than simply hugging the touchline, Yamal constantly drifts into central areas, forcing defenders into impossible decisions. If fullbacks stay wide, he attacks inside. If center backs step forward, space opens behind them for overlapping runners. His ability to change direction in a single movement makes him exceptionally difficult to defend in one-on-one situations. More importantly, his decision-making continues to improve. Instead of forcing spectacular plays every time he receives the ball, he increasingly chooses the correct option, whether that means delivering an early cross, combining with midfielders, or carrying possession until teammates arrive. VGS Austria will likely devote significant defensive attention to limiting Yamal's influence, but doing so creates another problem. Spain possess dangerous attackers across the entire front line, meaning defensive overloads against one player inevitably leave space elsewhere. Nico Williams provides exactly that threat. Operating from the opposite flank, Williams brings explosive pace, capable of stretching even the deepest defensive lines. His direct style complements Yamal perfectly. While Yamal often manipulates defensive shape through dribbling and creativity, Williams simply attacks open grass with relentless acceleration. This combination forces opponents into constant lateral movement, gradually opening passing lanes through the center, where Spain's technically gifted midfield thrives. Spain's midfield remains the heartbeat of everything they do. Their ability to dominate possession is no longer based on endless sideways passing. Instead, every circulation of the ball serves a purpose, drawing opponents out of shape before exploiting the spaces they create. Short combinations, quick third-man runs, and intelligent positioning allow Spain to maintain control without sacrificing attacking ambition. Equally impressive is Spain's defensive organization. Rather than defending deep, they attempt to recover possession immediately after losing it. This high-intensity counterpress significantly reduces the number of dangerous counterattacks opponents can launch. When executed properly, Spain often regain possession within seconds, keeping sustained pressure around the opposition penalty area. VGS Austria, however, should not be underestimated. Their path into the knockout stage demonstrated resilience, physical commitment, and tactical discipline. Although they may not possess Spain's technical quality, they compensate through organization and work rate. Every player understands defensive responsibilities, making Austria difficult to break down when their shape remains compact. Instead of competing for possession over long periods, Austria are expected to prioritize defensive solidity before looking for quick transitions. This tactical approach suits the personnel available. Experienced forwards can hold the ball long enough for midfield runners to arrive, while energetic wide players attempt to exploit the space left behind Spain's advanced fullbacks. Set pieces may also become one of Austria's most realistic opportunities to threaten the Spanish goal, particularly against a side that often commits numerous players forward during open play. The biggest challenge for Austria will be surviving the opening stages. Spain frequently begin matches at an extremely high tempo, pressing aggressively and circulating the ball rapidly to force defensive mistakes. If Austria concede early, they may be forced to abandon their disciplined defensive structure, exactly the scenario Spain hopes to create. Patience will therefore become Austria's greatest weapon. The longer they keep the score level, the greater the psychological pressure shifts towards Spain, whose status as tournament favorites naturally creates higher expectations. Frustration can sometimes lead even technically superior teams into rush decisions, providing opportunities for disciplined opponents to strike unexpectedly. Another fascinating tactical battle lies in midfield. Spain rely heavily on controlling rhythm through intelligent positioning and constant movement between the lines. Austria must decide whether to press aggressively, risking exposure behind the midfield, or remain compact and allow Spain prolonged possession. Neither solution is ideal. High pressing against technically gifted players requires perfect coordination, while passive defending inevitably invites wave after wave of Spanish attacks. Fatigue could become another decisive factor. Spain's constant movement without the ball forces opponents to cover enormous distances throughout 90 minutes. Even well-organized defenses gradually lose concentration after repeatedly shifting from side to side. This physical exhaustion often becomes most visible during the final 30 minutes, precisely when Spain's deep bench allows fresh attacking players to maintain the same intensity. For Austria, maintaining concentration for the entire match may prove even more difficult than matching Spain's technical ability. The smallest lapse in defensive positioning could immediately be punished by world-class individual quality, the tactical battle that could define the match. As the game progresses, the contest is likely to become less about individual brilliance and more about which team can impose its preferred rhythm. Spain generally thrives when matches are played at a fast tempo, with frequent ball circulation and aggressive pressing. Austria, on the other hand, would benefit from slowing the pace, reducing the number of transitions, and forcing Spain to attack against a well-organized defensive block. One of Spain's greatest strengths lies in their positional structure. Players rarely remain static for long periods. Midfielders constantly rotate, fullbacks move into advanced areas to create numerical superiority, and forwards interchange positions to confuse defenders. This fluidity makes it extremely difficult for opponents to maintain clear defensive assignments over 90 minutes. Austria's defenders will therefore need excellent communication. Rather than following Spanish attackers into unfamiliar areas, they must maintain the team's defensive shape and trust teammates to cover dangerous spaces. Losing that compactness, even briefly, could allow Spain to create clear opportunities around the penalty area. The midfield battle may ultimately determine whether Austria can remain competitive. Spain's midfielders excel at receiving the ball under pressure, turning quickly, and progressing play through short, intelligent combinations. If Austria allowed too much space between their midfield and defensive lines, Spain will repeatedly exploit those pockets with quick one-touch football. Conversely, pressing too aggressively carries its own risks. Spain are comfortable playing through pressure, and once the first defensive line is bypassed, their pace on the wings can transform a controlled possession into a dangerous attack within seconds. Another important factor is the psychological aspect of knockout football. Spain enter the match with higher expectations, meaning the pressure to perform rests largely on their shoulders. Austria can use that situation to their advantage by remaining patient, limiting mistakes, and forcing Spain to become increasingly desperate if the score remains level deep into the match. Set pieces may also prove significant. While Spain often dominates open play, knockout matches are frequently decided by dead ball situations. Austria possess physical players capable of challenging in aerial duels, making corners and free kicks valuable opportunities to create chances even if possession statistics heavily favor Spain. Spain, meanwhile, will seek to avoid unnecessary fouls around their own penalty area while maintaining discipline during defensive transitions. Modern international football often rewards teams that combine attacking creativity with defensive concentration, particularly in elimination matches where one lapse can end an entire tournament. Depth could become another decisive advantage for Spain. Few national teams can introduce fresh attacking players without a noticeable decline in quality. As fatigue begins to affect Austria's defensive organization during the latter stages of the match, Spain's substitutes may provide the additional speed and creativity needed to unlock a stubborn defense. Lamine Yamal is likely to remain one of the central figures throughout the contest, but his influence extends beyond goals and assists. His movement frequently attracts multiple defenders, creating space for teammates to attack. Even when he is not directly involved in the final action, his positioning can reshape the opposition's entire defensive structure. Nico Williams offers a different type of threat. His willingness to attack defenders directly forces opposing fullbacks into uncomfortable situations, especially late in games when fatigue reduces recovery speed. If Spain successfully switches play from one flank to the other, Austria may struggle to shift their defensive block quickly enough to close down both wingers. VGS Austria's hopes will depend largely on discipline, teamwork, and efficiency. They may create fewer opportunities, but knockout football has repeatedly shown that teams do not require dozens of chances to progress. A single successful counterattack or well-executed set piece can completely alter the direction of a match. For Spain, the objective is clear: dominate possession with purpose rather than simply accumulating passes. Every movement should aim to stretch Austria's defensive structure until openings inevitably appear. Quick circulation, intelligent off-the-ball runs, and immediate pressure after losing possession remain essential to maintaining control. If the match follows its expected tactical pattern, Spain should spend extended periods in the attacking half while Austria defend with numbers behind the ball. The critical question is not whether Spain will create chances, but whether they can convert those opportunities before Austria find a way to capitalize on one of their limited attacking moments. Ultimately, this fixture represents more than a meeting between two nations. It reflects two contrasting football philosophies. Spain rely on technical superiority, positional intelligence, and relentless ball movement. Austria emphasize organization, physical commitment, and collective discipline. Both approaches have earned success throughout football history, but in a World Cup knockout match, the smallest tactical adjustment or individual moment of brilliance often separates victory from elimination. Should Spain perform at the level they have demonstrated throughout the tournament, they possess the creativity, experience, and attacking depth to control the game and advance. Austria, however, have every reason to believe that disciplined defending, tactical patience, and efficient finishing can transform them into one of the tournament's surprise stories. Whatever the outcome, this encounter promises to offer a fascinating tactical contest between one of the world's most technically gifted sides and an opponent determined to prove that collective organization can challenge even the strongest favorites.